sure. I'm just giving that as a reference.
That's what he's doing, bro. Shit. Are we recording now?
We're recording.
All right. Okay. What we're going to do today is we're going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and read from memory about a page from the chapter of the book The Plague by Albert Camus, La Peste d'Albert Camus, chapitre 1. And then it will go something like this. And then afterwards, we're going to go ahead and read an English translation and see what the differences are and how they do things, if there's any big differences, and we're going to go ahead and talk about those. Okay, chapter 1 by Albert Camus of The Plague. Les curieux événements qui font le sujet de ces chroniques se sont produits en 1940 à Oran. De la vie générale, il n'était pas leur place, autant pour l'ordinaire. À première vue, on a fait une ville ordinaire et rien de plus qu'une protection française de la côte algérienne. La cité elle-même, on doit l'avouer, est laide. L'aspect tranquille et fort carton par percevoir ce qu'il en différent des tant d'autres villes comme sont sur toute la latitude. Comment faire imaginer, par exemple, une ville sans pigeons, sans arbres, sans jardin, où l'on rencontre ni battement d'ailes, ni froissement des feuilles. On lit en outre pour tout dire. Le changement de saison ne se lit que dans le ciel. Le printemps s'annonce seulement pour la qualité de l'air ou par la corbeille de fleurs que des petits vendeurs ramènent des banlieues. C'est en printemps qu'ils vont sur les marchés. Pendant l'été, le soleil encendit les maisons torchées, se couvre les murs de son grise. On peut vivre alors que dans l'ombre des volets clos. On entend cet commentaire. On déluge des boues. Les beaux jours viennent seulement en hiver. All right, thank you. Oh, by the way, when I read the French from memory, we're going to go ahead at the end of that part. We're going to put the French translation at the end, so you can then follow along. Or afterwards, you can read it and then go back in the video and then watch it. Watch the video again with me reciting it from memory. And you should each time you go over, you should be able to understand more and be able to read more as you read and then listen back and forth, etc. And so these videos are mainly for like intermediate to advanced, but beginners can benefit from it as well. You can just because on YouTube you can slow down a video and you can listen to it a lot slower than it really is, and that should help you reading it, listening to it, and watching someone recite it from memory. I think better than even reading from a book will help you acquire the language a lot quicker than you would expect. So we got here the first chapter in English as it was translated by this author. It says, the unusual events described in this chronicle occurred in 1940-something at Oran. That seems fine. Everyone agreed that considering their somewhat extraordinary character, they were out of place there. Now, in the French translation, it doesn't really say extraordinary. It just says that basically they were out of place, and it's just a bit out of the ordinary. And then it goes on to say, for its ordinariness, it's what strikes one first about the town of Oran, which is merely a large French port on the Algerian coast, headquarters of a prefect of a French department. The town itself, let us admit, is ugly. It has a smug, placid air, and you need time to discover what it is that makes it different from so many business centers and the other part of the world. Now, going back up here to smug and placid air, and it seems a little bit different than how I would read it in French, but you can go back. I would just say go back and be the judge for yourself and put it in Google Translate or Deep Translate and then see what the differences are. But it's not much. And then it goes on to say, how conjure up a picture, for instance, of a town without pigeons, without any trees or gardens, where you never hear the beat of wings or the rustle of leaves. A thoroughly negative place, in short. It says like this a question, but when I know as I read it from French from memory, it says less something more of a negative. It's more of like something that's more of a neutral sense. Like, would you really call this a neutral place instead of negative? I mean, that's where I would say that a difference is here. The seasons are discriminated only in the sky. All that tells you spring is coming is the feel of the air or the baskets of flowers brought in from the suburbs by hawkers. So yeah, it's like, they know it's spring by what they're selling in the marketplace that they brought in from the suburbs. And it goes on to say, it's a spring cried in the marketplaces. That's what I just said. During the summer, the sun bakes the houses bone dry. And when I read it in the French, or what I remember, it says it's so hot that it just really dries out the houses. I mean, I guess that's a good way of explaining it. Of course, the way it's written in French, you could say it means the houses that are really dry, it burns them, but you know that's not what it's saying. Yeah, but that's a pretty close translation here. And then it talks about sprinkles our walls with grayish dust, and you have no option but to survive those days of fire indoors, behind closed shutters. And autumn, on the other hand, we have deluges of mud. Only winter brings really pleasant weather. Yeah, that should be it. And as I translated, the things I just mentioned are the only things that stood out to me. Other than that, that'll give you a good feel of how things can be not so much lost in translation, but of course it'd be best if you could read it in the original language itself, and you get even a just completely overall feel in reading from one language to the other. And that should be it for today. Thank you so much.